Right, somebody asked a question on me before and after video, short video on YouTube. He says, why do you only train 2 hours a week? Well, if you look at them before and after shots, you can see there's a dramatic difference between the first picture and the second one. I mean, I transformed my physical self, you know, with only 2 hours training a week. And if you can transform yourself with only 2 hours a week training, why do more? Why do more if 2 hours a week is enough to transform your whole body? Now, when I say 2 hours training a week, I don't mean 2 hours fucking about. I mean 2 hours training a week. The most focused, brutal training imaginable, right? If you've ever seen Dorian Yates train, blood and guts style, you know, the guy who won Mr. Olympia however many times back in the 90s or early 2000s, whatever it was, he used to train high intensity style, blood and guts as he called it. I've got his book. Now he was on steroids obviously, so he could do more than your average person. But if you're not on steroids, you can adapt that sort of training. Just do less than Dorian Yates. He used to train low volume, high intensity, and that's the way I trained to transform myself. Without steroids, I just did less volume, but still fucking brutally hard, blood and guts. Now I follow the training advice of people like Stuart McRobert and Chris Donlan, who are, and Brooks Kubik and other people of that ilk. Natural trainers, natural hard gainers, people who don't build muscle easily, people who struggle to build muscle and strength because they are natural for one, but also genetically typical and not, gifted genetically. That's me. I'm not fucking gifted genetically, and I'm certainly not on steroids. I've never ever took any kind of fucking drug to help me in me training. Not once. I've been offered them. Of course I have. I used to go to a gym when I was a lot younger. I used to go to a gym and I was offered steroids. I fucking wasn't interested because health comes first. Muscle and strength comes second. Anyway, yeah, I follow their guidance. Stuart McRobert especially. He's wrote shitloads of books. I was a subscriber to his magazine, Hard Gainer, which recently finished. He no longer makes that magazine, but he did for a long time, and it's a fucking great magazine if you can get any back issues or whatever. It's great advice, fucking fantastic advice. But essentially it's low volume, high intensity. He calls it, and other people have called it this as well, abbreviated training. Abbreviated because it's not your typical bodybuilder steroid user program where you train fucking 5 times a week, 20 sets per fucking exercise or whatever, you know what I mean? It's low volume. You pick a handful of big compound movements and you spread them across the week, whether you train twice or 3 times or even once a week. Doesn't matter. You just do this handful of exercises and you focus on weight progression, gradually increasing the weights. And that works, man. As long as your diet's right and you're getting enough rest You're not taxing your body with a lot of other stuff like cardio, and you're not stressed out all the time. As long as you stay in that adaptation mode, you will get stronger and you will build muscle tissue. It doesn't matter how old you are. I'm 55, and if I eat enough calories and I train correctly, I can still build muscle and strength, no problem. In my mid-50s, I've done it. I'm doing it right now. I trained last night and the weights were going up nicely because I'm not in a calorie deficit. See, it's different when you're trying to lose fat. You go in a calorie deficit, your body can't build muscle and strength while it's losing fat. Not if you're a natural. If you're on steroids, different matter, but if you're natural and you're not a genetic wonder, you'll struggle to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. You might gain a little bit of muscle, but losing fat in general always leads to me losing strength and a bit of muscle. So I can't do the two things at once. It's either one or the other. And at the minute, I'm not in a calorie deficit, so I am gradually getting stronger. I'm not getting stronger as fast as I could if I really increased my calories, but I don't want to pile on a load of fat. Do you know what I mean? I'm fat enough. I don't want more fat. So I'm watching my calories, but I'm not in a calorie deficit. So I'm getting stronger. I'm starting to look bigger lately after I lost a lot of size and strength because of an injury not that long ago. But I've got that back now, or most of it, and I'm pushing forward, So, yeah, 2 hours a week is all you need. I'll tell you what I do. It's probably the most abbreviated program I've ever been on in my life. It's 2 workouts a week. One, I do the trap bar deadlift for 2 hard sets after warm-ups. Then I do the seated shoulder press for 2 hard sets after warm-ups. Then I do 1 set of weighted crunches for abs on the floor. That's it. That's workout 1. The other workout, which I do 3 days later, 2 hard sets of bench press after warm-ups, 2 hard sets per side of bent over dumbbell row, 2 hard sets of calf raise, 2 hard sets of curls, barbell curls. That's it. That's my entire program. And on that very abbreviated program, I'm getting bigger and stronger right now. But in them before and after photos that I put on YouTube, I was probably doing slightly more volume. I was doing maybe 2 or 3 other exercises more than I'm doing now. But I've scaled it right back this time because of that injury I had not long ago. I want to keep the volume really minimal, and it doesn't really matter, you don't need a lot of exercises so long as you're doing some proper exercise, some good movements, big movements like the deadlift, like a squat, bench press, heavy rows, shoulder press. As long as you're doing these big compound movements, you don't need much else. Just focus on increasing the weight gradually. Small weights, not whacking a load of weight on every week, just small weights. I've got some really tiny weights, so I'm able to increase the weight very gradually, and that works. Your body doesn't notice it quite often if it's a very small incremental change. So yeah, 2 hours a week, man, that's all I'm doing. It's not even 2 hours now, it's less. I do a general warm-up for about 15 minutes. Then the weights might take about 45 minutes. So it might be an hour and a half a week in terms of weight training. And then I'm resting in between sets, and I'm resting in between exercises. So if you totaled the actual time that I'm lifting weights, it's not going to be much at all. And yet it fucking works. It works. So don't get hung up on high volume. And high volume Fair enough, if you're on steroids, your body can deal with a lot of volume because you've got that super recovery ability. And if you're a natural athlete, if you're genetically gifted for building muscle or strength, then again your body will tolerate more. But if you're not, if you're like me, average guy who's wasn't born with a gift of natural muscle and strength, then low volume's the way to go, and just increase the intensity. Make them sets hard, fucking hard. You know, when I do a set, rep 1 is fucking hard, not rep number 6. You know, I don't. Rep 1 is fucking hard. You know, it should be so hard that it is a battle to reach 5, 6 or 7 reps. It is a battle, and requiring complete mental focus, because if you're fucking about, you're not gonna achieve much at all. So yeah, make them sets count, man. Every set has to count. Once you've done your warm-ups, 2 sets maximum. Try 1 set. Some people do better with just 1 set. Maybe do extra reps, like, you know, do 1 set, put the bar down briefly, take a bit weight off, and then churn out another few reps, and that's it. Move on to the next exercise. But I prefer 2 sets. I like doing 2 sets. I don't know why. It's probably psychological. I do a couple of warm-up sets, then I go straight into a fucking really brutally hard set. Doesn't matter what exercise it is, that first set after the warm-ups is brutal. But it's probably not as brutal as the second one. The second one is always worse because, well, I'm fatigued from the first one for starters. And if I want to match the rep count, I have to work. I have to dig deep, man. Dig deep mentally to get there. Usually, well, sometimes I match the rep count, but sometimes I'll get less. Maybe it's 1 or 2 reps less. But always, I dig deep and focus. I focus the shit out of my brain, man. I imagine people I hate. Do you know what I mean? I imagine I won't tell you what I imagine doing to them. All kinds of scenarios go through my mind to push me on, you know. Anybody who sees me train gets a bit freaked out because I'm insane. I am insane. I mean, I've trained in front of some tough lads, and they've been taken aback by how much I put into a fucking set, you know. That's just what I love to do. I love training like that. I can't actually train if the sets are easy. People say you should have back off weeks and all this, where you don't put in much effort. You just let your body fucking coast along. Well, I find that difficult to do. I tend to fucking push myself too hard, if anything. And, well, I've been injured a few times. More than a few times. And I've had setbacks, and especially when I've reduced my calories, then I tend to get injured more, and I go in reverse, or I struggle to make progress for a while. But so long as I'm eating well and I'm training like a lunatic, I go forward. It works for me. As long as it's low volume, as long as the workouts are infrequent, so no more than twice a week. I used to train once every 5 days, so it was, you know, even less than twice a week. But the workouts were slightly longer. Couple more exercises per workout. Now, because I'm doing this super abbreviated routine, I only train twice a week. But fucking hell, it's hard. It's hard. I trained last night, bench press. I got me 5 reps the first set. It was hard, it was brutal. But the second set, I went into my inner demon to achieve another 5 reps. That last rep took everything I had. Everything I had. I mean, it was still in good form. I didn't break form. But to keep in good form and to get that bar all the way up, I had to fucking... Well, I had to imagine someone, a certain scenario to achieve it. And, well, the mind is a powerful thing. So yeah, that's how I train. Brief, it's short workouts, it's infrequent workouts, it's low volume, it's intense as fuck, brutally intense, and it's gradual progression, with small weights and good diet, ideally some quality sleep every night, but cannot always guarantee that, you know, working night times and what have you. But yeah, and that's it. 2 hours, you don't need any more. Look, if you're not going to train super hard like what I do, if you're going to do a bit more volume and that and ease off on the intensity, that might work for you. That might work. You might want to do 3 hours a week or 4 hours a week. Well, just see what works. Not everybody can train brutally hard. Some people are scared of that. Some people don't like it. Some people think it's too dangerous. And I'm not going to bullshit you. It is fucking dangerous. I've felt the pain. I've had injuries. Because it is difficult to, when you're not on steroids especially, to maintain that over the long term. But I love training like that. I've always preferred that way. When I was in my youth, in my 20s, I made fucking dramatic progress on that sort of training for a few years, and then I had kids and started a job that affected me physical abilities, and I gave up training in my early 30s, and I didn't train again for 15, 16 years. And that's how I got to that first photograph, by the way. That's how I got in that state. 16 stone of mess. I was a fat blob. I was in a right fucking state when I started training again. And by the way, when I started again, I was 47, 48. I couldn't start doing what I'm doing now. There was absolutely no way. After 15, 16 years of not training, mentally, there was absolutely no way I could go back to doing what I do today. I had to learn how to train hard again. My body and my mind were not ready for that. I started very light and very easy, doing poncy exercises like push-ups and step-ups on a chair, and, you know, very light dumbbell rows. It was a very basic, light program that I started on, and it was a good 18 months before I decided, hey, I'm gonna fucking up the ante here, and I'm gonna go for heavy training again, hard training. But it took me 18 months to develop that mental ability, you know, mental capacity to take on the hard stuff. But I got there in the end, and I'm still training that way now. It's been ups and downs ever since, like, because I tend to fuck about with my diet. I tend to try to lose fat, and then, you know, I get lost for a while. And then I get pissed off because I've lost too much strength. So I go back to the higher calories, and yeah, ups and downs. But at the minute I'm on the up, and that's all that matters. Anyway, I think I've waffled on long enough. Basic point is, you don't need more than 2 hours training a week. That's all you fucking need. 2 hours training. unless you're like a bodybuilder type on steroids, and you know, you're going into competitions and you want to build loads of size, and yeah, you can do a lot more on steroids and still recover. But if you're natural, genetically typical, chances are 2 hours a week is gonna be ideal for you. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. Just experiment and see what works best. But try to train harder rather than longer. That works for me. It might work for you, probably will. But hard training is hard training. It's not for the feeble-minded. It's not for those who's just got into training. It'll take time to build up that tolerance of high intensity training. You can't do it straight away. You've got to fucking train your mind to deal with that. Anyway, yeah, whatever happens, good luck. I hope you make gains, I hope you make progress, and if you want to leave comments, ask questions, fire away. See you later.